is that Charlie Kirk, no matter how much I disagreed with the man and thought he was abhorrent for the views that he held, I don't believe he should have lost his life. If you are labeling a side as evil and your side as good, I don't know how you don't comprehend how more violence is going to come from that. Because if you're telling everybody that the side you're fighting against is evil, then they're probably going to be more prone to hurt that side. But then the president of the United States can't even get on his own talk show, which is Fox and Friends, look in the camera and say, hey guys, we all need to calm down. When he was asked to do so, he said, oh, actually, the radical right, I don't have a problem with them. It's just the left. So I don't know how we expect things to calm down if that is what's happening from our head of the country. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I decided to upload this video because it's been a while. If you guys want to see like my content and shit like that, I try to go live as much as I can, so please take a look at my lives. I usually be reacting, playing video games, talking to shit, and, you know, trying to talk to you guys when I can. But I'm going to try to upload stream segments like this one up on YouTube, just in case you guys don't really care to watch a whole live stream playback and just want to see like the highlights and the reactions and whatever floats your boat, huh? Well, with that being said, today I'm going to be reacting to Abba and Preach's video, It Only Gets Worse, speaking on Charlie Kirk and everything that's been going on with that. So, without further ado, let's get this shit started.
Charlie Kirk, we didn't, we're what, 7 days after?
7 days.
Craig David. So. Oh, are you guys cracking jokes? Yeah, that's what we do. I think the easiest way to start this video, you know, and I think the thing where most of us agree is that political violence should never be acceptable. The idea that you might have the most reprehensible views, the most disgusting things, you should have the right, and you should be safe enough to be able to espouse those views without losing your life. After his assassination, the main thing I took away,
and main thing I want to say, is that Charlie Kirk, no matter how much I disagreed with the man and thought he was abhorrent for the views that he held, I don't believe he should have lost his life. That needs to be clear. Doesn't mean I have to feel bad, but doesn't mean he should have lost his life. That's just a fact.
Most of what I've seen after the fact is folks trying to figure out whether or not this guy's right wing or left wing, so they can, you know, pit blame on the other side.
100%.
I've seen people call for violence. I've seen people have this like rhetoric of us versus them.
Good to fight back against evil. It is.
Yeah, this makes absolutely no sense to me. The political rhetoric is at an all-time high. You have Matt Walsh coming on the Daily Wire, one of the biggest Republican platforms on the planet, sitting here saying, oh, we need to fight back against evil. You do understand how fucking insane that is. If you are labeling a side as evil and your side as good, I don't know how you don't comprehend how more violence is going to come from that. Because if you're telling everybody that the side you're fighting against is evil, then they're probably going to be more prone to hurt that side.
Time for the righteous to prevail.
I know we don't have a lot of time. There's so many good speakers tonight. This is a battle between good and evil.
So stupid.
I wish we could compromise, but you can't compromise with evil. You can't compromise with evil.
And that's also the thing. That's also the thing. The thing I have a problem with. Look at this, bro. A senior advisor is saying this shit. What doesn't make sense to me is how we have people online. We have Republicans and right-wingers and MAGA guys sitting here saying that the rhetoric needs to die down from the left. Obama came out and disavowed this. Gavin Newsom came out and disavowed this. Joe Biden came out and disavowed this. Every prominent Democrat leader has came out and disavowed this. When we're not even 100% sure if the person that took Charlie's life is even Democrat-leaning, but then the president of the United States can't even get on his own talk show, which is Fox and Friends, look in the camera and say, hey guys, we all need to calm down. When he was asked to do so, he said, oh, actually, the radical right, I don't have a problem with them. It's just the left. So I don't know how we expect things to calm down if that is what's happening from our head of the country.
I've seen people be like, well, the other side is the one that does it. And I think all of that really defeats the purpose of trying to make the world more safe, right? Because we got here, I feel as though this was a long time coming. And what am I saying a long time? We've been here for a long time. There's been a lot of political crime, a lot of political killings over the last 8 to 7 years. Bombing of abortion clinics.
An Irvine man has been sentenced to 6 years in federal prison for the 2022 firebombing of a Planned Parenthood clinic.
Different politicians who've been attacked, either attempts or assassinations that were completed on both sides, be it Democrats or Republicans.
Sources telling ABC News that 2 Minnesota state lawmakers have been shot in what law enforcement officials say was a targeted incident.
By a Republican, by the way. By a MAGA guy, by the way. By a person that MAGA doesn't want to take responsibility for, by the way. It's our fault. We need to take responsibility for it. Okay.
There have been extremists and crazies who've gone out and murdered people on a semi-regular basis for the last 9 to 10 years that I've been looking at it and paying attention. Anybody who sits out there and goes, well, the lefties are the danger. In fact, this year, I feel like you guys killed quite a few politicians for that matter. There's been Trumpers who've done that.
Over the past 24 hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murderous hatred against people like Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk specifically, now saying that we need to turn down the temperature and start having conversations. Well, Charlie tried to have conversations with you on the left, and you killed him for it.
What am I supposed to take from that? What do you want me to do with that response right there? How are we supposed to come to any type of peace in this country? Again, Matt Walsh, one of the biggest conservative talk pieces in the country, part of the Daily Wire. What am I supposed to do with that? How do you want me to respond, I guess? If one side wants peace and the other side wants war, what happens? What's going to happen? I don't know how you think you can have it any other way. Right? If I am running up to you every day and constantly punch you in the fucking face, and you're constantly just backing off, at some point you gotta defend yourself. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. The conservatives don't want peace, dude. And they said it. I'm not making any claims. I'm not trying to get myself in any type of fucking trouble. I'm not saying we should be violent. I'm not saying there should be any shit that goes down in this country. I don't think there should be political violence. I don't think that this should continue. And I don't think that people should feed into it. But the main thing I'm bringing up is when you have the Republicans, the thought leaders, the political leaders sitting there saying that this is good versus evil, sitting there saying that it's all of the left, sitting there saying that we need to do whatever we can to purge them, and when our president can't even go on his show, or I should say Fox and Friends, but we all know it's his show, when he can't even go on his show and say, hey, we need to cool things off, both sides need to calm down, we need to come together as a country, when he can't even call for unity in a moment like this, and instead opts to say, well, it's the radical left, I don't have a problem with the radical right. What happens? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I want no political violence. Of course I fucking don't. Nobody should. But the problem is, it seems like one side really does. And even when there was 2 senators earlier this year taken out by a Republican, the only thing I saw on TikTok, on YouTube, on X, was people constantly trying to somehow spin it and say, well, he was technically a Democrat because he worked for Tim Walz, and even though he was a registered Republican and voted for Trump, that doesn't mean anything because he had a job under Tim Walz, kinda, but he wasn't ever appointed by Tim Walz, but he was still on the board, and who cares? Why is it so hard to just say it's not okay? You guys beg, piss, and moan. As soon as Kirk was taken out, and we didn't even have a suspect for everyone on the left to disavow it. And it happened. Obama, Newsom, Biden, everyone did. But that's not enough. That's not enough. You don't disavow shit. You don't take back shit. You just excuse it and say it's actually not you guys. But with zero evidence, it is all on us, even though data has shown that most political attacks is right-leaning, and we're the one turning up the temperature when we have a president in office who has stated over and over again hateful rhetoric, has nicknames for every single one of his political fucking opponents. He literally said in 2016, he made a comment about Hillary Clinton when, if she gets in office, your guns are going to go away. If she gets in office, she's going to have judges and they're going to take your guns. And there's nothing you're going to do about it. There's going to be nothing you can do about it. But there's probably something the Second Amendment guys can do about it. We've had a guy that has turned up the heat like crazy right now, okay? He's sitting there in front of the fucking knobs, fucking turning them up. And you're yelling at the Democrats to go turn it down when he won't let us in the kitchen. What are we supposed to do?
The same way some Trumpers decided to go kill those Minnesota senators. Right? They weren't out there advocating violence. They were at their homes, and this guy showed up to kill them and try to kill more of them. Doesn't mean you shouldn't tone down the rhetoric. But apparently Matt Walsh disagrees. Let's hear why.
You're killing us in our churches. You tried to kill our president. You killed one of our greatest advocates in Charlie Kirk. You have been openly cheering for and celebrating and encouraging and committing political violence for years. Antifa, BLM, you made a hero out of Luigi Mangione. And you celebrate...
Antifa was called by Joe Biden, said he disavows Antifa. BLM, most of their protests have been peaceful. I know, it's the meme of the burning car in the background, okay? But most of those protests were. And the ones that weren't, guess what? Those were disavowed too, okay? Those were. But we have our president when it comes to the Proud Boys, by the way. When he was asked to disavow them, what did he do? Stand back and stand by. And what else happened? Oh, they just, invaded the Capitol on January 6th. And what else happened? Oh, they just were found guilty. Were prosecuted, found guilty, were sentenced. And what happened when Trump got in office? He pardoned them. Okay? It's just like, it's the biggest double fucking standard in the world. Imagine if Joe Biden told Antifa to stand back and stand by. Antifa got charged for crimes of invading the Capitol, and Joe Biden pardoned all the Antifa members. Be a fucking shit fit. People would be crying and begging and shitting and moaning. But when Trump does it, it's fine. It's fine. And whenever you bring this up to anybody that supports Trump, what is their response? Well, Joe Biden pardoned his son. Even though his son was pardoned for what? A misfiling of paperwork for some tax forms and a fucking misdemeanor gun crime? Like, oh my God, get the fuck on. Really? That's the pardon that's equivalent to Trump's? Oh, they're both the same. Pardoning people who tried to invade the Capitol to take the lives of politicians. Pardoning your son for misfiling of tax forms and committing a gun crime. And not a violent one either. Yep. Same. About the same. They're about right here. So stupid.
Charlie's death even now. It's too late to turn the temperature down. This is not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. It is a time for good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail for the sake of our country and for our families and our children.
The righteous to prevail.
You're denouncing all this shit that happened and you said this is wrong, and then you advocate for this shit to happen.
Yeah.
Perpetrating the same thing over and over again. It's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. But it's a sports mentality.
Fair.
My clique can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And will do no wrong. No, sometimes your clique does shit plays. It happens. Acknowledge that. I bleed red, I bleed blue. That's really me. It's one of the reasons why I was not going to sports, because those people were the people who were bullying me with that mentality. They were like, if you don't think like them, it's like... And then I was like, stay away from sports.
Nancy Pelosi's...
And this is where I'm going to disagree with Preach a little bit here. I do believe it's a sports mentality. I just think that the right is just truly brain fucking broken. I'm sorry. They just are. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to be... It's just insane that no matter what the president does, the president, bro, it's insane that no one can call it out. According to everyone and their mother, Trump is perfect. Let me ask every single one of you guys, anyone who's watching this video, even if you're a Trump supporter, do you know a single fucking person in your life that's perfect? Jesus wasn't even perfect. So if Jesus Christ wasn't perfect, Trump was? Are you kidding me? Politicians called out Biden. People called him out for small things, big things, whatever the case may be. Left-leaning podcasters called out Biden. Left-leaning media figures called out Biden. People on X who are left-leaning called out Biden. I've seen it all the time. And sometimes it was a bit ridiculous, especially with the far left they called out Biden. But with Trump, no one on the media apparatus on the right is calling out Trump. Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, none of them. Matt Walsh, none of them. He's never done anything wrong. He's not being called out because he's not going to address the nation and saying we should go for unity. He's not being called out when he made statements like, at the end of the day, voting is rigged. And when they ask him what should be done, we need to fight back. And it's like, with voting? Oh, well, voting's rigged anyway. So what the hell is he trying to say with that? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's just me talking about the things that he's done recently. Not even speaking on all the shit that has been done. Not to speak on him constantly calling every single one of his political opponents a communist, fascist, Marxist, Leninist. But it's all the left's fault. There's nothing Trump did to contribute to this. Nothing. And that's where shit is brain broken. Because the people on the right truly feel there's nothing he did wrong. There's not a single thing he did. There's not a single thing he did to drive up political rhetoric. Even though he calls everyone fascist, communist, blah, 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 it's because of the Democrats calling him fascist why this crime was committed. There's no responsibility on that side, and that's where the problem comes in. Because if you have one side that's constantly willing to take some responsibility, albeit not as much as I would want them to, when you have one side willing to take some, and you have another side willing to take none, there's no solution that's going to happen here. Because now you let the other side be able to form whatever narrative they please. You can't have that and have peace. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. We cannot constantly tell one side to take all the responsibility and not expect the other side to do so. Because now the other side gets to write what the history is and what actually the facts are. Because they don't need to admit fault. They can just point at the other side and say it's all them. It's fucking ridiculous.
Husband was attacked with hammers, and Donald Trump and his son were making fun of him after that attack.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know?
Yeah. Ha ha. This is funny. The president of the United States taking a jab at a political lawmaker's husband being hit with a hammer and almost have his life taken from him. But we're going to joke about it because it's not our side, so it's fine. It's okay. It's fucking ridiculous. And the biggest issue I have with this, I don't think there's a single Republican, conservative person on the right that saw this and actually said that this was bad. Even Charlie Kirk himself made fun of Pelosi's husband. Charlie Kirk himself, the peaceful guy, even though he's not peaceful whatsoever. I also find it funny that there was pictures. If you guys have seen this on TikTok, it was pictures of like Charlie Kirk next to like Martin Luther King. If you haven't, then you're lucky. But there's been images circulating. It's like an AI photo, and it's Charlie Kirk next to Martin Luther King or like Jesus Christ or whatever. And the photo says, "Taken for just their words," right? Why do you guys have him next to Martin Luther King if you're a Charlie Kirk fan? I'm not asking you for the reason you think I'm asking you for. I'm not asking you for that. You may be you don't think Charlie think about... No. I'm asking you because I don't think Charlie would want to be next to Martin Luther King. You do know that, right? If you're a Charlie Kirk fan, you should know that. He said on his fucking show several times that he thinks MLK was a bad person. He said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. And you have him next to Martin Luther King? I'm just going to be honest, I don't think Charlie would like that. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Charlie says MLK is a bad guy, and you guys want to compare him to MLK, the bad guy. Okay. Nice, guys. Let's keep going.
Well, how about the fact that, a lot of the people who stormed the Capitol January 6th were calling for Mike Pence to be hung?
I'm telling you, if Pence caved, we're going to drag through the streets. You politicians are going to get drugged through the streets. Yeah.
And do you guys remember why this was happening? If you don't remember, I'll gladly remind you. The reason why everyone was over here hang Mike Pence, if you're wondering why were they on Mike Pence's ass, is because Pence refused to take fake electors sent in by Trump in order for him to remain the president. When Trump said he wanted Mike Pence to do the right thing, it was for Mike Pence to commit a crime. It was to accept the false slate of electors against the state's will to implant Trump as the president when he wasn't the rightful winner. That's why they're screaming, hang Mike Pence. Because Trump even went online and said Mike Pence failed him. Because all Mike Pence did was his job. He certified the election by saying that Biden won. And because Mike Pence did not go against the state's wills, did not go and take false slate of electors, Trump said Pence has failed him. And that's why they went to the Capitol saying this shit. And again, no accountability. None. When I saw on the campaign trail, J.D. Vance get asked about this shit every single time. Are we seriously talking about January 6th? This is such old news. Why are we talking about January 6th? I don't know. Maybe because the president helped lead an insurrection onto the fucking country? Maybe that's why? Maybe because he tried to send in false slate of electors to be certified instead of the rightful ones, instead of the ones that actually were legitimate. Maybe because he was trying everything in his power to stay in power. Getting different representatives to hop on his fucking crackpot scheme to stay in power. And because Mike Pence, a goddamn American hero, decided I'm not going along with your plan. You didn't win the election. I'm certifying the official electoral votes. Electoral votes were not for you. I'm not going for your plan. But Trump gets no responsibility. He bears no responsibility for this. He's never going to see any pushback from anyone on the conservative side. It blows my fucking mind every single time he receives just a little bit of pushback. It's because he's hated. It's ridiculous.
I saw Asmongold say it was like 90% the left.
I think that in the last 5 years or so, especially since BLM, it's been a like 90% left-wing thing. But that doesn't mean that the 10% right-wing people are right either.
And it's like, well, crime statistics disagree with you, and it says
absolutely.
Most of the political violence in this is committed by the right. That's what the stats say. So for people to come out after the fact and just make it sound like it's one-sided is just bizarre to me. And then also people looking into the shooter and they're like, oh, I think he might have had a trans girlfriend.
Yeah, a trans roommate. What does that have to do with it?
Bro. And in a time where people say rhetoric is the reason that violence has happened, the moment Charlie Kirk died, I saw Trump get on and he was just like, well, these radical left Marxists, so they're complaining about the fact that they call Nazis all the time. And what do they call everybody who's a radical left, Marxist, socialist, communist? It's like, okay, got it. Everybody does this kind of hyperbolic. If people don't like Charlie Kirk and want to acknowledge the fact that he had disgusting views, that's their right. And people try to cancel folks for that. I'm not with that at all. Okay, the guy did say some very disgusting things throughout his life. He said them very publicly, and people whitewashing him. I've heard people call him a good Christian boy. Maybe from your perspective, it's okay for people to have have a different perspective. I certainly don't share the one where he's some good. I've heard him say some really so that's my personal opinion.
That's my personal opinion as well. I don't believe Charlie Kirk has said anything that I can look at it without a little bit of a side view. Maybe the fact that he loves America, because I love America too. So maybe I can agree with him on that. But the man has said abhorrent fucking things, bro. It's insane. It takes 5 seconds to go look at his shit. And what blows my mind when it comes down to Charlie Kirk's own words, because I remember posting a video early today on TikTok. It did okay. It did alright. But I had a bunch of people commenting on my video. Out of context. Out of context. I posted the entire clip. Posted the whole thing. Didn't cut him off. I let him talk in stride. I only went on to the next clip when he was done with his train of thought. I get so frustrated with people because you cannot just scream out of context when you hear something abhorrent and then expect more context to make it better. That's not how that works. You do understand that, right? Just because you're hearing something really bad from someone you like, you can't just scream out of context, because in order for that to be true, you need to add context to it to change what's being said to begin with. If I say, I hate all people, and that's it, you can say, that's out of context. Because if it turns out that the full quote was, I hate all people that hurt children, that's a fine thing to say, right? That's a fine thing to say. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. But if I say, I hate all brown people, and that gets cut off, and then people are like, oh, out of context, out of context. And then it turns out the full quote was, I hate all brown people. For sure, bro. What are you talking about? That's why I get frustrated, because that's all I was seeing every single time a quote by Charlie Kirk was said that was fucking abhorrent, that was terrible. Every single time they'd be like, it's out of context. What are you looking for? I took it in the beginning of his fucking speech, not speech, but beginning of his statement. I took it from there. I went all the way over here and I stopped it. What context am I missing? It's so frustrating, bro. It's such an excuse. Why can't you just say it's bad? Why can't you just say what he's saying is abhorrent? Why do you have to try to excuse it? Try to act like that's not what he's saying. It's brain dead.
You had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped. And she was going to give birth and she would, no, wait. Oh, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live. Would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's no, but it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So
Do you think that there should be free school lunch for all children?
No.
Why?
Of course not. Because parents should feed their kids, not the government.
What if they can't?
Go get a job.
A child?
The parents should go get the job.
Yeah.
This is important. First of all, this is really.
I want children to eat.
Of course I do. Show me a single child in America going hungry. Doesn't exist. Number two, we have churches, we have food shelters, we have billions, and it does not exist. We have a child obesity problem, not a child starvation problem in this country. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
I know we don't have a lot of time. There's so many good speakers.
Here's my thing. Here's my question that I have. What am I missing? I don't even think these are some of Charlie's worst takes. I made a whole video of even worse takes than this. But I'm curious, what am I missing here? When he's sitting here and saying this.
Dementia-filled Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
Is there context missing there? Is there something that should have been added to make that better? When he's literally saying Biden should get the death penalty for his crimes against America? What are his crimes against America? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand why this shit's so fucked? Why I'm so frustrated? Why it's so annoying that the left constantly concedes and the right gets to constantly push it off them. You can't have one side consistently take responsibility for rhetoric and have another side say, we don't have to. It's all their fault. Eventually, shit's gonna boil over. It just will. It's fucking ridiculous, bro.
I know we don't have a lot of time. There's so many good speakers tonight. This is a battle between good and evil. I wish we could compromise, but you can't compromise with evil. You can't compromise with evil.
I think the DOJ should immediately move to unseal all.
And, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. I didn't see this. I did not see this. I'll get to this in a second. But what she just said was extremely important. You can't compromise with evil. That right there, that is why I'm frustrated right now. Because how the fuck are we supposed to have peace in this country with a statement like that? If you can't compromise with evil, what do you do? What's supposed to be done then? How is she not calling for violence with that statement? What's supposed to happen next? You can't compromise with evil. So what are you supposed to do? Fight it. And how do you fight it? I'm not saying that. You get what I'm saying? This is fucking ridiculous, bro. I cannot believe we're in this time right now. I'm so frustrated at the fact that no matter what we do, no matter what the left does, they're going to get the heat for it, even if it's not their fault. And no matter what conservatives do, they never, ever, 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 ever have to accept responsibility for shit. I just hate it, bro.
The Epstein documents in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah.
I think every file should be released to the public the same way as the JFK files.
Charlie Kirk got one call from the president, and this was his response.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands.
Oh, release the Epstein files. Oh, hey, I'm your buddy Trump. Shut the fuck up about that. Oh, never mind. I don't care about it that much. Who cares, bro? Who cares about Epstein? Who cares? Blatant contradiction. Responsibility? None. It's holy shit. Are we joking right now? One day, Charlie's like, release the Epstein files. Trump gives him a call. We don't know what happens in that call. Boop. Charlie gets on his show. Bro, Epstein, Schmepstein, who cares? Like, what?
This day and age cannot emotionally multitask. You know that two things can coexist at the same time? I cannot wish someone harm, but also not be sad for the harm that happens to them. I don't wish it on them, but I'm like, you don't mean that you're wishing someone bad. You don't have to be celebrating and be like, I'm not going to put my flag half-mast.
That was wild. Treating that dude like he was a national hero is crazy. So, I mean, veterans die every single day in the line of duty.
Yeah.
And the president will not do a damn thing. But this guy gets shot and then all of a sudden they doing all this hubbub. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So, but things can.
Children's lost their lives the same day. Flags weren't for them. It's for Charlie. Charlie Kirk. The same person, by the way, that said those kids losing their lives is a necessity. Is a necessity. Not a tragedy, a necessity. That guy. We're going to lower the flag for that guy. Interesting.
Yes, it is. It's not empathy. It's not compassion. There's this neutrality that is a possibility as well. Especially when you're affected by the things that he's saying.
And you contributed. Like, if we're all honest, none of this is surprising because we've been inching towards this whole time. We've been here for a while. All this extreme rhetoric, all this, calling these people Nazi, calling these people Marxist, communist, radical, like all of this stuff.
Call these people basically not human.
Yes. How many YouTubers have I seen calling for a potential civil war? Okay, because of what's happening. How many people have I seen even post-attack still carry on with the exact same good versus evil? who do they think is good? Their side, obviously. Their side is only full of good people, and the other side is the evil side. And so when you hear all this rhetoric, it's like, of course, this is where it's going to happen. Of course, when you inflame your audience to say this person deserves to be hung, this person deserves to be shot by gunfire, or whatever it is, and people constantly hear this, they're going to internalize this good versus evil. And that's why you have people showing up to Pelosi house trying to kill him, or why you have those Democrat senators in Minnesota being killed, or why you had those Republicans shot at the Israeli embassy. We have made everything an existential crisis, and to a degree it is, but we don't know how to have good dialogue and understand these things. I'm going to caution everybody against it. Yeah. Doesn't matter who gets assassinated, whether it's me tomorrow or whatever. I would never, like, let's say it's me. Let's say it's me tomorrow, hypothetically. I'm out, a fresh and fit fan. I would never hope that you guys go out and try to do some retribution, okay? In that same token, as a lefty myself, I would not want you guys to go, that's the wrong idea, no matter how bad it is out there.
How the same people that are always talking about gang mentality and gang, the gangs are gangs and black on black, you having the same mentality. An eye for an eye. Or you do it, I'm gonna do it. That's how they do it.
And you know what I really didn't like throughout this whole thing? People were like saying, this might be a minority, this might be a trans person, as if that factors into the equation.
I have something to say about that, but I don't want to lose my point here. One point I truly want to make sure it's clear. I fully agree with Abba and Preach on what they're stating. The biggest issue that I'm having, and I said it like in the beginning a little bit, you cannot constantly beg for peace if one side does not want peace. It's not gonna happen. It's just not. I'm not saying we should go to war. I'm not saying people should die. I'm not saying any of that shit. I don't want that shit. I'm just saying, what the fuck do you expect to happen? You got one side that's constantly driving up the rhetoric and constantly saying that we need to go to war. You have Matt Walsh saying we need to go to war. You got Scott Best saying we need to go to war. You got people in the Republican Party saying we need to go to war. We got a fucking senior advisor saying we need to go to war. We got Donald Trump saying the radical left needs to be purged and it's not the radical right. They're not doing anything wrong. When he was asked if he's going to do unity. But he doesn't want to do that. If one side wants to constantly fight, the other side is forced to fight. That's all that happens. I don't want no fight. I don't want no shit to happen. But all these Republicans screaming for civil war and blah, blah, blah. Do I think an actual civil war is going to happen? No, I don't. But I think we're approaching a scary time in our country right now. Because when our president should be the president, I understand why a Matt Walsh, as much as I hate the dude, may say some shit like that. I understand why political people online, even people in office, I think it's fucking ridiculous, but I can understand why some people in office may say some stuff like that. Political points, I guess. If you are the president of the United States, it is on you to turn the temperature down. And if you can't even do that, I don't know how or why you expect other people to quiet down and calm down. Because everything you're saying is not to do that. If it's good versus evil, and you're not denying it isn't, then how the fuck do you expect people that follow you to take it as anything such?
And if it turns out to be true. But whenever it's a white person who ends up killing somebody else, do we all appreciate the fact that that's generally not part of the conversation?
No, it's not. It's never.
So the only conversation that's been had so far is whether or not they are one of these other identities. Now that it's not, it's completely excluded from the conversation.
That's the biggest thing, yeah. I know this is a side tangent, he even said as much, but that is frustrating. Not for me to be super woke here, guys. But I am a black man. But no, seriously, one thing I find frustrating, right, is when that Ukrainian woman was, her life was taken on the train, and it was taken by a very mentally ill, terrible person, okay? Committed a lot of crime, he was mentally ill, you could definitely tell he was homeless, something was not okay up here, and he still was a bad person nonetheless, regardless of mental illness. When he took her life, everybody kept tweeting about, he's a black guy, look at this, look at this, look at this black on white crime. Look at this. Look at this. Look at what they do to us. Even Charlie Kirk retweeted it and said, our country will never be the same. Our country will never be the same? Huh? Because it's so ridiculous, because I will bring that up and then people will excuse it and be like, that's not racist. That's not racist. He's bringing up a point because a woman just had her life taken on a train by a stranger. I'm like, okay. So our country will never be the same because a homeless, crazy, disgusting man took a woman's life? Are you telling me that there's never going to be another homeless, crazy man to take someone's life? Or is our country never going to be the same because that homeless, crazy man that took her life happened to be a person of color? And that's why. Why is it that the skin color matters so deep with that one, but the skin color doesn't matter with homeboy that took out Kirk? Why? Why is there a difference there? Be open about how you feel. If you're a racist, rock that shit. Run with the flag. But don't play me like I'm dumb.
And I only bring this up because earlier this week or last week, there was the killing on the bus. How many people messaged me, are you going to talk about this? You're probably not, because it's a black person. I'm like, it's a mentally ill person who's been let out of after like 13 convictions. He should have been in jail. And he's schizophrenic and he was never put in. You making this a race thing is fucking retarded. However, I think it's interesting that 2 days later, a white young man goes out and kills somebody and the discussion around race doesn't exist. And that's just something I just wanted to highlight as a small thing, because these two stories have been back to back. And I thought it was interesting that as a black creator, I always get messaged whenever another black, like I'm responsible. Like it's my job to, I have white fatigue. I'm not even sure what that means, bro. You don't know about black fatigue?
I just have dumbass fatigue. It's not even a race. I just have dumbass fatigue. I have fatigue with people being fucking stupid. That's my fatigue.
Oh, I got the white one. I do think it's interesting that the moment this crime happens, that people go straight to identity politics, including the people who say they hate identity politics.
But it's white. It's just like, oh no, it's just...
No, but like, it's just like, oh, are they minority? Are they trans? Oh, it's like, is that what you're hyper-focusing on after a crime?
Yes, they are.
Right. The same way that their rhetoric gets toned down if they're a white cis male, they get to hate that shit. All of a sudden, a crime happens. Are they trans? Are they this? Are they that? It's like, oh, wow. It turns out identity politics is very popular on the right.
They're looking...
Extremely popular. Extremely popular. Okay? Super duper popular. One of the funniest things I think about this whole thing is that one of the bullets said catch this fascist, right? I like how Republicans online and shit, they'll say he was clearly part of the left. It doesn't matter that he didn't vote in the last 2 elections or ever have a political affiliation, or the story that was released by The Guardian was retracted because the person that called in as an anonymous source wasn't even his friend to begin with. It doesn't matter if we don't even know his political affiliation. He was definitely of the left. Why? Because he had a bullet that said catch this fascist. And everybody knows the left is anti-fascist. What are you saying about yourself with that one, buddy? What? Also, Trump has said many times that Harris is a fascist, Biden is a fascist, Democrats in general are fascists. He's said this plenty of times. Do I have to pull it up? Do I have to... Hold on. I'm so curious. I'm probably going to go to X. Funny enough. Because X usually has what I'm looking for. Give me a second. I want to see Trump, if there's a compilation of Trump calling Democrats fascists. Because I know he has. Great. Fascist. Okay, this?
You know all about that. Take away our energy, if you can believe it. No fossil fuel. Destroy our Second Amendment, attack the right to life, and replace American freedom with left-wing fascism.
Fascism.
Left-wing. We're going left-wing all the way. Fascists. They are fascists.
Fuck me! Fuck me! I'm sorry. Is it impossible for me to believe that the person could have been a Trump supporter? It's so annoying, bro. It's so fucking annoying. It's so dumb. Like, they get to do this with impunity. Never get called out for it, but it's the left that's the problem. Oh my god.
For even the roommate.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know, because the reporting keeps changing every single day. I just think it's interesting. Identity politics is the forefront of this thing. What is the race of the individual who commits the crime? What is, well, as long as they're not white. If they're white, we kind of just move right past it. What is the ethnicity? What is their sexual orientation? It's like, all this is just identity politics. I find it interesting that we're hyper fixating on that. Isn't that what we've all fought against for a long time?
Well, we didn't fight for it, and they certainly didn't, so they're going to hyperfixate on that.
Even cancel culture. You know, for the longest time, I had a whole bunch of people tell me, remember that white lady who ran up on that kid and was calling him the N-word a bunch of times on camera? I had a lot of people, I had a lot of right-wingers telling me that this woman losing her job is horrible. She should be allowed to go up to a young 10, 13-year-old kid and call him the N-word a dozen times on camera and not be fired. But now with this incident, because people are celebrating, which I think is horrible, I think it's bad, I think it's stupid, but I would never think people should get fired for that. Should they lose their job? If you think yes, then you're for cancel culture.
That's a fact. I know y'all may not want to hear that, but that's a fact. That's a fact. If they lose their job and you wanted them to lose their job, hey buddy, you like cancel culture. Welcome. That's what you
That's
like.
what it is. You're for people getting canceled because you don't like the way that they act or the way that they behave.
Yeah. But those same people on the right don't like cancel culture when it's against them. So it's convenient. It's convenience. It's convenient cancel culture. It's whenever you can control it.
Yep.
That's weird.
Yes.
That's weird in a twisted way.
I don't think it's twisted. It just goes to show you that the groups who try to pretend like they're so different from the other side are quite identical. In fact, they'll engage in the same behavior.
Yep.
They'll pretend they're the victims of all the situations.
Yep.
They will do identity politics when it's convenient. They will engage in violent rhetoric and then pretend to be victims right afterwards. Like, every group does this. The left will do this, the right will do this, but I need us all to accept that they're not different. And if you think they're different, you can just watch the behavior in front of you. How is this different from identity politics? How is this different from cancel culture? How is this different from all the stuff that I heard from conservatives for the last 10 years that the left does too much of? I don't know. All the crazy rhetoric, all the vilifying the other side, they all do it. Until we get past this point of pretending like the other side is a problem, we will never get past this point.
There's going to be a whole revolution. With all them guns around, there's going to be a whole civil war, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Anything else?
No.
All right, well, listen, let us know what you guys think. Do you guys disagree? Which side is wrong? Which side is correct? I want to hear from you.
Good video. I liked it. I don't know. I liked it. Good video. We'll see what happens. I said everything I need to say. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you want me to react to, and I'll do that. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about, and I will. But until next time, y'all, deuces.